guys, welcome back to another video. Now today, I've got my glasses on of course, trying to look as smart as possible for this video because we're going to be going over a fair bit about how to build muscle and lose fat as effectively as possible, which is different for everyone. So I'm going to go over a few different ways that may work for a few different people. Now to start off, I'm going to explain something. It's called a body recomposition. Now, this is going to work better for people who are beginners, people who are already overweight, and people who haven't trained in a while. And I'll tell you why. People who are beginners are able to build a lot more muscle than people who have been training a long time. The same way somebody who's overweight or has too much fat hasn't probably been training in the gym, so they're able to build muscle on a calorie deficit because their calories are so high anyway. Okay, so that's the first thing. Building muscle and losing fat is a very nuanced thing, like most things are, but there's a lot of layers to it which you can break down gradually and just kind of find the simplicity within it for yourself. Okay, losing fat in particular is nutrition. You cannot out-train a bad diet any day of the week. I don't care how hard you're training. I don't care if you're training every single day. You cannot out-train a bad diet, okay? So that's the first thing. You need to have your diet on point, eating whole foods, being in a calorie deficit, and making sure that your meals are structured around the type of body that you want to be achieving, which is, I assume for a lot of people, getting leaner and getting stronger, which is not impossible. That really isn't impossible. I've done it personally, and that's why I'm giving you guys this edge, giving you guys as much knowledge as I can, because I've done it personally, and who better to tell you than somebody who's done that personally? So that's the second thing. Another thing is protein. Now, you've heard this stereotype of, oh yeah, hit your protein. That is very true. You do need to be hitting 1 pound of protein per pound of body weight. 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That is something that I cannot recommend enough because it's going to satiate you and keep you less hungry, and it's going to fuel your muscle to grow. And to maintain fat loss, you don't want to be having a load of carbohydrates that are giving you that extra energy, that extra stored energy that you're going to store, and therefore it's going to become fat on your body because you're not utilizing it. Training for a recomposition, as I said. Recomp's just shortening. Recomps are, should be focused around compound lifts because that is what's going to keep your hormones in check. That's what's going to keep you strong. You want to maintain your strength at least, or even maybe get stronger when you're losing this fat, because you're going to be consuming less energy, therefore it's going to be harder to build that muscle, if you understand what I'm saying. Building muscle is easy when you're in a calorie surplus. When you're in a calorie deficit, it's a bit harder because you haven't got as much energy. That's why you need to train as hard and most structured way possible. Training weights 3 to 5 days a week and getting 10 to 15,000 steps every day. Now that is a hack. Those two things are an absolute hack. I'm sorry. There's no way people will look better as a result of just running all the time and looking the way you want to look rather than lifting weights and walking, because lifting weights and walking is so good for you because you are able to expend more calories on that muscle that you've built. Once you've built muscle, that's one thing people don't understand. One thing as well, you're not going to be like the Hulk. You're not going to get bulky. Trust me, I've tried in the last 5 years. I've tried. So that is one thing you do not have to worry about, whether you're a man or woman, right? You're going to more likely want to look like the Hulk if you're a bloke, but my point is, you're not going to look like the Hulk. People get really worried about that, and they shouldn't. Lifting weights is really beneficial for your longevity and how you look. It's good for your hormones. Everyone should be lifting weights, is my point. It's really good for you. But that hack of 10 to 15k steps a day, 15k steps is a little bit more aggressive. That is more aggressive. That is if you want to lose fat in a shorter space of time. 10k steps is the thing I recommend because it's done gradually and you're not going to lose as much weight as quickly as possible, essentially. Because I believe you will retain more muscle if you have a certain structure for a longer period of time of losing weight. rather than just going, oh, I want to lose a bunch of weight in 3 weeks, because you're going to lose more muscle. And I would like for you guys to take this approach as well. Maintain as much muscle as possible, because maintaining muscle and building muscle is the thing that's going to keep you in the body composition that you wish to achieve. Another thing is sleep. Sleep is so important. There's a study shown that if you get less than 6 hours sleep, you are it's stupid. I can't remember the exact figure, but you're a stupid amount more likely to retain fat and not build muscle, okay? You are not going to get the gains or progress you want to achieve if you are not sleeping properly. Sleeping at least 8 hours a night will benefit your life and your recomp more than you can believe, because it does so many, it's literally the most important recovery method. I don't care about saunas, I don't care about ice baths, I don't care about any of this. Sleep is essential. Sleep is absolutely essential. So do not dismiss it. That is another thing. Another thing that may help is some supplements. Creatine. There was a study showed that creatine taken over a 3-month period, somebody put on 3 pounds more muscle than the person who didn't take creatine. Creatine monohydrate is the best type to take. That's the most researched and supplemented supplement in the world. So do not fear. Make sure you get it from a good source. Make sure you have the correct amount for your body, which is usually, I would recommend 1 gram per 10 kilos body weight. So if you're 50 kilos, take 5 grams. 80 kilos, take 8 grams. That is how you're going to best utilize creatine monohydrate for your body. And make sure you're hydrated, and make sure you're taking the correct amount. Now, another thing is, fat loss isn't just cardio. It's not just 10K steps. You are going to have to couple that with a good diet, as I said before. You can't just be going, oh yeah, I'm gonna eat awfully today and just have 15K steps, because that is not going to be as effective, as you well know. And it's kind of making that excuse process in your body and mindset, which is going to then compound onto other things. I've had that before. This is another thing. Tracking progress is important. You can either use a scale, you can track your calories. I have never tracked calories, and I wouldn't recommend it, because it's not a long-term utilizable method for health, for one. But if you're doing a short-term method of losing weight, yeah, that's fine. You can do that, of course. A lot of people do it. But I believe if you put these processes in place, you're going to lose weight anyway. If you're having whole foods, hitting your protein, sleep, all the things I've mentioned, lifting weights, it's all going to add up and help you and help recomp your body. And I've always used a scale. And I always know when I'm losing weight or building weight. And it's quite easy to tell, because you step on it every day. Oh, I've gone up, oh, I've gone down. Some things may play little parts, like carbohydrates, water intake, that kind of thing. So make sure you're weighing yourself in the morning. That's your true weight. And yeah, if you're cutting out carbs completely, which I wouldn't recommend, then you're going to see a lot of weight drop, because you're not retaining as much water. Which is going into your muscles. Creatine will make you retain a little bit more water. That's why you need to have more water and stay hydrated, like I said before. But that isn't fat. That isn't anything needed to worry about. So do not stress about that. Common mistakes to avoid: too little calories. Like I said about aggressive cutting earlier, some people do way too aggressive cuts. Oh, I want to lose a bunch of weight in 2-3 weeks. Okay, but how much muscle are you going to lose in that process? Quite a bit, probably. Unless you're chronically obese, I don't believe that's an effective method. I believe that having a structured program, a nutrition protocol over time, is way more effective for a transformation. When I went for a period last year of my transformation, wanting to go from, I think I was about 85 to 87 kilos and back down to 75, 76 kilos. I lost about 10 kilograms, give or take. I did it over a 4-month period, but I made sure I did 10K steps a day, and I made sure I had the right nutrition, and I made sure I was eating properly and training properly. And that's what worked for me, and I got a pretty good transformation out of it, as I'll put on the screen now. But yeah, these are simple things, but they add up. They will build habits over time, and you will be able to effectively grow as a person and, well, in your body, of course, like we're talking about. you're going to look a lot better. You're going to look a lot better, feel a lot better, and you're going to like that shape in your body a lot more. Your waist is going to be thinner, your shoulder's going to be wider, especially as a guy, because that is the kind of aesthetic they look for. Women can focus more on their lower body because that's what usually they focus on. So they can focus on, again, getting a thinner waist, but focus on their glutes, their hammies, their quads, the things that are going to help them get as aesthetic as they want to be. So, I hope that was informative. I hope you all enjoyed that, and hopefully you guys implement this, because it's all about creating sustainable habits over time through the strategies I've mentioned. So, hopefully you guys do that. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully it's been valuable, and I shall see you later.